for today's DIY, I'm going to attempt to make my first gnome. I've never made one before, so I'm going to use some of the polyfill, a mop head from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to take some old socks and a piece of glitter red felt. So let's get crafting. So I'm going to take the sock and I'm going to cut it somewhere in the middle. I want to make the gnome slightly tall, not too short. So I'm just going to cut the sock in half and then I'm going to fill it with some of the polyfill. I'm actually not going to put anything in the base. I'm not adding any rice or any beans to it. I'm just going to fill it up with polyfill. And if I have to lean the gnome up against something, if it falls over, that's okay. But I'm not going to fill it with anything else except the polyfill. So I did hot glue the top of the sock where the opening was, just obviously so the polyfill wouldn't spill out. Now I'm going to take the mop that I got at the Dollar Tree to make the gnome's beard. So I'm just going to measure to see how long I want it. If I have to trim later, I will. So I'm just going to cut pieces off the mop and use them as the gnome's beard. Pretty quick and easy. So now that I have the beard glued on to my sock, I'm going to use this piece of red felt and I'm going to try and make a hat that looks as pointy as possible. This is the first time I've made a gnome, so I'm going to have to play around with it and see what I come up with. So let's try it. So I made the felt, I turned it into a cone and I'm just going to hot glue the edges around it. It doesn't look completely perfect, but that's okay. And I'm not going to hot glue it to the sock itself. I'm actually just going to plop it on the sock because I actually like the way it looks better than when I hot glue it. So I'm just going to leave it like that and nobody's going to touch it, so it hopefully won't fall off. So now that I made the hat and I trimmed the beard a bit, I'm just going to unravel each of the mop strands to make the beard look a little fuller. So now that I have the beard, I'm going to add a little embellishment to the hat. I want to make it look sort of a little bit like Santa Claus. So I have this little piece of black glitter ribbon that I'm just going to hot glue across the hat. And then I'm going to use the gold little rhinestones to make a buckle for the belt. So I found these little little feet at the Dollar Tree. They're supposed to be tree ornaments. And I figured I'm going to attach them to my gnome so it could look like it has feet. The next DIY, I'm going to take one of the tinsel trees from the Dollar Tree and two of the dusters, the ones that you put on the ends of those mops with the Velcro. So I'm going to do two of those and a tinsel tree so we can create a wintry wonderland tree centerpiece. Okay, so I'm going to remove the tags. I'm going to keep this stuff there. I'm not even going to remove it. So starting at the top, I'm just going to make a shape to cover it up. So now that the tree is all wrapped up, I'm going to add a little decorations to it. So I had a roll of these beads. They're kind of iridescent. So I cut them into some strips, and I'm going to start to hot glue them from the top of the tree, and I'm just going to let them dangle down. So now that the beads are on, I'm going to get some rhinestones and I'm going to hot glue them around the tree. Not too many, but just a few to give it a little extra sparkle. And for today's last DIY, I'm going to do some cardboard or poster board Christmas cone trees. So what I do is I tie a piece of string to a pen so I can get an even angle. And once I have traced all of my trees, I use all of the four corners of the poster board. Then I'm going to go and cut them. This way it gives me 4 different sizes for all of my trees. So now that I have all 4 trees done, I'm going to actually just do 2 to make the video a little bit quicker. I'm going to take wrapping paper that I bought at the Dollar Tree. I found these 2 rolls. They're actually pretty good paper. It's Hallmark wrapping paper at the Dollar Tree. I bought 1 silver and 1 gold. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take the wrapping paper and I'm going to wrap the tree with it and just secure it with hot glue. So now that this one is wrapped, I'm going to take some of the Dollar Tree rhinestone wrap and just put a little trim on the top. And then I'm going to add some glitter on the bottom with Mod Podge. For the next tree, I'm going to take one of the Dollar Tree stockings. I'm just going to use one, and I'm going to wrap this tree with this stocking. But before I do that, I'm actually going to wrap it with wrapping paper because the tree is not going to have enough material for me to wrap it. So I'm going to do half of this Dollar Tree sequence material plus some of the wrap. So I ripped apart the stocking and I covered the tree because obviously the stocking is not big enough and I don't want to use 2 stockings for this. So I did half wrapping paper and then I'm going to use part of the stocking to give it a little extra shine. And that's it. I think they look pretty good, especially for a poster board. Hope you enjoyed this video. Merry Christmas to all of you.